Hello, everyone, and welcome into Bleed Purple Nation. Casey here with you on Monday, January 12th. I'm recording this and just wanted to jump on. And it seems, over the last few years, we've lost a ton of Tarleton alumnus, Tarleton legends, people that had a huge influence on our university. And unfortunately, yesterday, we lost one of the biggest Tarleton supporters. Tarleton, I don't throw the word legend out loosely, a Tarleton legend, a father, a great man, someone who, boy, if you just look at the comments on social media about his passing, you just see hundreds, if not thousands, of comments about the impact that this man had on so many lives. And I'm talking about Darrell Brown, who passed away yesterday in Stephenville. And I just felt like I needed to get on and, on behalf of our nation and Tarleton fans that are, watch this podcast, support this podcast. I just thought it was the right thing to do to send my condolences. And, what do you say about Darrell Brown? I've known Darrell, I mean, not as long as many of you, but I've known him since 2001 when I started at Tarleton. And, the first time I ever heard about Darrell Brown, he was senior vice president at Town and Country Bank in Stephenville for a little over 17 years. And, his role at Town and Country Bank was to be the face of the bank and community engagement and community support and marketing and giving back to the community, all those things that Darrell did. I'm sure he did a lot more than that at the bank. But I remember Town and Country, had ATMs on campus and they advertised in the JTAC every week, and you would open the JTAC and Darrell was always the face of, the Town and Country Bank ads. And I don't have it in front of me and I'm going to try to look for it, but I think the ad was like advertising the ATMs on campus and it said Darrell B and Oscar P. It was always Darrell B and Oscar P, bank with us, Darrell B and Oscar P. And I always, remember that advertising campaign was pretty catchy. And, Darrell was the face of many things in Stephenville. And, he's announced the homecoming parade for a long time. I was honored. He asked me and, Thessie Towns asked me for a few years to host that homecoming parade when I worked at Tarleton with them. And those were always it was such a fun day just to sit next to him and crack jokes with him and make sure he and I muted the mic as we were telling each other things between floats. And, just the passion he had for that homecoming parade and the passion and love he had for Tarleton. You'll be hard pressed to find anyone that loved Tarleton more than Darrell Brown. And he was born in Stamford, Texas. And I want to say, I was looking this up, came to Tarleton around 1983 and graduated in either 87 or 88. He was Mr. TSU, among other things, member of Lambda Chi Alpha. He was Mr. TSU. I wasn't around then, but from what I can tell, talking with people as an undergraduate, he was about as involved as you could be, obviously, if you're named Mr. TSU. And then stayed in Stephenville and worked at Town and Country Bank, like I said, for 17 years and working in athletics. And, well, before that, just being a student. I mean, you saw Darrell Brown at everything. I mean, he loved Tarleton, loved Stephenville. After Town and Country, he went and worked at the university for, I want to say around 10 years in student life and student affairs, and I was a mentor to so many students in student government and Greek life, and did so much great work at the university, chaired a number of influential committees. So I was on a committee that Darrell chaired. It was celebrating the 100th year that Tarleton was in the A&M system. There was a committee, Darrell chaired that. I believe he chaired or was very involved in the inauguration committee for our new president, Dr. Hurley, and then left Tarleton a couple years ago and's been the director of administrative services for the city of Stephenville and worked at the city for the last couple of years. And I mean, he's been a success professionally, more of a success personally. He's been a friend and a mentor to so many. And I can't think of many things that were more rewarding in life than to hear his voice and see the smile on his face and how good Darrell would make you feel when you saw him. He'd make you feel like you were the only person in the room and only person in the world. So my heart goes out to his wife, Angie, his children, Preston and Sydney, and everyone that knew Darrell Brown. Again, passed away yesterday, a Tarleton legend. And, while at Silver Taps, his candle will be extinguished this year, his impact on Tarleton, on so many people as a Christian man, a mentor, a father, a leader in our community, and a volunteer, an alumnus, that that light will live forever and carry on. So we love you, Darrell, and I don't know what else there is to say, but just thought that I would start the podcast this week with that, because I don't think personally you could do a Tarleton podcast this week and not talk about Darrell and the impact that he had. So we love you, DB. God bless.